Hi, it's good to see everybody here. Like John was saying, we normally do this in person, but we're happy to have Zoom so that we can give you guys some information, and then at the end we'll open it up for questions. So my name is Danielle, and I am the new program administrator of the LBRN. So that means that I am in charge of the overall organization of the LBRN. I try to keep everybody on task and keep things moving, and most importantly, keep everybody on the same page across all of our institutions. So hopefully we can do that today. I'm really excited about the summer research program. I just started with the LBRN in October, so this is going to be my first summer program. And to me, this is what LBRN is all about. This is the whole point, is reaching as many people as we can in Louisiana and creating a more equitable playing field for education and research. So we're very glad to have all of you here. And like I said, this is my first go round, and John, our computer manager, has been here since we started.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and, well, first, let's introduce Na-Young Kim.
Okay.
He's Assistant Director at the Center for Computation Technology. Na-Young, you want to say a few words about your role in LBRN?
Actually, not really much, John is a kind of a history of the LBRN, so he knows everything. And the Daniel, she is superwoman in the LBRN. So yeah, ask them that they will solve any issues. That's what I believe.
Yeah,
So,
Na-Young participates in our administrative core and our biostatistics and bioinformatics core. So he's instrumental with a lot of support in that area. So I'm the computer manager of the grant, and I've been working for LBRN since we got funded. And as Danielle said, the whole point of the grant really is to further biomedical research in the state of Louisiana. This is an NIH funded grant. You are here obviously to learn about the summer program. We provide funding opportunities, learning opportunities for undergraduates, graduates, and faculty during the summer, which is what you're here to listen to about. We've extended the deadline for our applications until March 29th. We need all of your information in by that date. Let me make sure I can advance the slide. There we go. So who are we? We are in what's called an Embry institution, which is an acronym for acronyms, the Institutional Development Award Networks of Biomedical Research Excellence. NIH loves these long-winded words and acronyms, but it's basically to promote the development and resources for biomedical research in the state. The whole point of NIH's goal with this grant is to further competitive investigators for the entire nation. We actually compete with other states for this funding. It's even though it's funded by Congress, we still have to apply and get funded. The establishment of this grant was actually back in 2001. We didn't actually get the money until 2002. That's when I got hired. Our summer component is actually funded by a match by Louisiana Board of Regents, which we're very thankful for. That actually allows us to save money and do more research in other areas. So I have to give a shout out to Louisiana Board of Regents. It was actually the easiest sell we ever made, was to fund our summer program. Once they heard that we were doing this for students across the state of Louisiana, they were in. To give you a picture of, this is just a small part of this larger award, but Louisiana is part of this, and The reason why the other states aren't there is because they get more than their fair share of money in research. They don't need the help. All these other states like ourselves need the help. You always hear about Louisiana being at the bottom of the list. Strangely enough, we're at the top of this list, which is a good place for us to be. That means we're very competitive. Our faculty are very competitive. The research that we do in the state is very competitive. We're excited to get students and graduate students and faculty into the mentoring labs. Some of the faculty here that I recognize have been part of the program in the past. Dr. Martinez is a good example at Southern University. He knows about our grant, and some of the other faculty that are here in this meeting are have been or are a part of the grant on your campuses. So they can talk to you more about it if you know them already. The way that we do this summer program is we provide these opportunities for undergraduates and graduates and faculty across the state in these areas: in bioinformatics, computational biology, cell and molecular biology, biochemistry. Anything that's got bio on it is probably fair game. And we can do this for any undergraduate institute, primarily undergraduate institution in the state of Louisiana. And that's what makes us unique out of all of the summer REUs in the state. A lot of them, like we just had a meeting this morning, they were talking about students flying in to LSU from other states. And we're like, wait, this is Louisiana. We focus on the state here. They're like, oh, okay, so you don't have to worry about people flying in. So these are the requirements that you must be from a Louisiana college or university. We exempt LSU, Baton Rouge, and Tulane. They have already plenty of programs and plenty of opportunities. We want to have an more than equal opportunity for all the other institutions in the state. And pardon me if I'm reading over my screen here. The other exception is, so if any of you, and I forgot to take this poll, and you can do it by raising your hand in Zoom, or you can put it in the chat, that's fine, or you can just speak up. How many of you are undergraduates? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I may be missing some on my screen. A good number of you. Okay, take your hand down if you are a sophomore or junior. In other words, if you're a freshman or senior, leave your hand up. Okay, if you're a senior, are you graduating this semester? You can speak up if you'd like, or just, I've got 2 hands that are still up. If you are a freshman, are you starting this semester? Did you start this semester? Okay, I'm going to just, okay, no starting freshman. All right. Seniors, if you're graduating, we have a problem. We can only fund you if you're in school. So if you graduate, that means during the summer, you're not in school. So the exception is if you have proof of entry into graduate school, we'll accept you as Danielle, this is a point. We took them as undergrads during the summer, even though they were graduating, as long as they were accepted into graduate school. So that's something you'd have to provide us with information about at some point. If you were a freshman and didn't raise your hand, you do have to have some basic courses already. The faculty that will take you into a lab want to know that you've had some basic lab courses, some basic biology or whatever courses that you require. So it's a little bit harder for the starting freshmen, and we've got an issue with the graduating seniors. Since 2001, we've covered 21 universities across the state of Louisiana, and we've got this gorgeous map. What's interesting about this map, and I've got a little story about it, is you don't get on the map, your college does not get on the map unless you participated in the program. McNeese, for the longest time, was working very hard, and they finally got some students in, and they were really happy to get on the map. I know that we've got at least one application from a university that's not on this map. I'm not going to name them. I don't know if that person's here or not, but we'd love to see more stars on this map, so to speak. So, but we've covered pretty good number of them across the time that we've had this grant. The blue institutions on here are the campuses where generally the mentoring takes place. For this summer, coming out of COVID, we're going to be focusing on having the students here in Baton Rouge. We may be able to make an exception for that, but that's going to be our priority. If anyone lives in the New Orleans or Shreveport area and there's a mentoring lab there, we do provide housing and here in Baton Rouge, but we can't do it in the other locations. So that means that you probably have to live there and commute. So that's a note that I've got coming up on this next. So where can the research be done? Pardon me for looking ahead. We provide housing here on the Baton Rouge campus. So that's included in the funding. Danielle, I don't remember on the travel for coming to campus, if we're taking care of that or not.
I think so, but I'll have to double check.
Okay, for them to get to camp, to where we are, yeah. To be honest, it escapes me because it's gone a couple of different ways.
And I guess we should mention that our faculty members are not expected to travel to these institutions. You can.
Yeah, the focus on this is the undergrad and the graduate students. The faculty are, we've got a different slide for y'all.
Is that, sorry, Dr. Martinez, is that what your question was about?
Yeah. So now the young, you were talking about the restrictions for undergraduate students. And I'm planning to send a PhD student for this program. She's going to apply, and she joined this program this semester. Is there any restrictions for graduate students?
Well, if she's in graduate school and has started, then she can apply. That's not a problem.
Okay.
But we do want them to learn something from our campus, so they need to, or from Pennington or from somewhere besides your campus. So
yeah, that's the purpose.
Yeah. So this is what's included: support and housing, and that's why I was making the exception for the other campuses are included here in Baton Rouge. Graduate and undergraduate students need to obtain a mentor. One question we typically get is when do you do the research? It depends on the lab. It depends on the research that's being done. I remember that some of the labs would start late and work well into the evening hours. Some of them work on weekends. Some of them work early in the morning. Some of the research, the students had to go out early in the morning, and then they didn't have anything during the middle of the day. And then at the end of the day, they had to go back out again. It all depends on the research being done. As a result of this, you cannot be working or having any other classes during this time. This is a 100% effort during this 10 weeks for undergraduates. For the graduate students, it may be a little bit different in terms of the amount of time on the mentoring campus and time back at your campus. The faculty is another story. So these are the program weeks for the undergraduate students. And what are you going to get out of it? You're going to get hands-on experience in the labs. This is really valuable experience. We've had countless stories of people during their interviews after they graduated. Once they found out that the student was in a program like ours, that's what they focused on during the interview. It's really important and good experience for you to get post-graduation. And it also helps some of the students determine what you like and what you don't like to do. We had one student that started in one lab, discovered they didn't like that, whatever it was they were doing. And so the next summer they actually applied and came back and did something else. And they finally figured out what they wanted to do. But overall, it was a success story, but it's one of those things where you never know what's going to happen. During the 10 weeks, we have social activities, we have training activities, and everything culminates at the very end in a poster presentation where you present the research that you did during the summer. You get to keep the poster. It's you can apply to other conferences with your poster, and we may even support that after the fact. This is just some of the pictures we've got. When I say social activities, we've had softball games, we've done all kinds of stuff. It's a lot of fun.
And for those activities, we do collaborate with the other summer research programs that are happening on campus. So you'll be with undergrads from all of those other programs as well.
Although we like to take it all on, staff and faculty versus the students during the softball game is always a blast to see who wins. I like to say that the faculty and staff usually win. So I'm talking a little smack talk right now. Graduate students, workshop and lab technique training. That's really hopefully you are working on something where you're going to take something with you that's part of the research that you do. The requirement as a result of this is an oral and poster presentation during our annual meeting that's held the following year in January, and a final progress report. So in terms of, what you are expected to do after you do your research, this is our expectations afterwards. The faculty. So you can get funding for up to 3 months over the summer. I apologize if I'm reading some of this, but you can get support for professional development, for learning some techniques or models or whatever you're going to gain from a mentored collaboration. Brent, I don't know if you have any words to say about this.
Yeah, I mean, that's fairly accurate. I mean, it's just the point of this faculty funding is that we're promoting collaboration and professional development where faculty might be considering transitioning to a new field, like say you're a lung biologist but you want to study cancer now, so maybe you do a summer research project devoted to learning the basics of establishing a cancer research lab or something along those lines. I mean, that's what we're looking for. This is really considered it's temporary funding. These aren't full projects. It's mostly related towards developing your portfolio for future research applications, for say a pilot project or something along those lines for in the more standard LBRN funding, which would be also for consideration for future independent NIH funding. So these are all in that effort. The summer research program is primarily geared towards funding undergraduate research, though, and that's something graduate students and faculty need to consider, is that graduate student funding as well as faculty funding is competitive. So we accept the majority of undergraduate students as long as their project is appropriate and the mentor is appropriate. However, graduate student funding as well as faculty are considered competitive awards. So just keep that in mind.
For the faculty, when you're we're going to expect you to do an oral and a poster presentation at our annual meeting that's held in January. That's same guidelines that we gave the graduate students. Typically we do this meeting in Baton Rouge. I don't know if next year we're going to do it somewhere else. Sometimes we've done it in New Orleans or in North Louisiana, but I expect that,
We talked about doing it in New Orleans next year, so
yeah, so there's a possibility that we might be doing this meeting in New Orleans next year. So, but well, of course, we'd let you know. Just to touch on that, students have presented, former students of the grant have presented at various scientific meetings and have been authors on publications and journals after they've done the research. Tom has a question, yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's me here.
Can you?
Yes, so just a quick comment on funding for the annual meeting. Clarify for everyone that that's covered by LBRN separate from all this.
Yes, so the LBRN will support any participant in LBRN funded research to come to the annual meeting and present either a poster or an oral presentation, whatever your abstract is selected for. The LBRN will fund that as far as travel, accommodations, and accommodations during the conference.
and
So
that
doesn't-
would be for you and for your students that would maybe come and present a poster.
Yeah, if their research was impacted by LBRN funding, we want them to participate.
Right, so the students that get the $4,000 or $6,000 for the summer don't have to worry about saving money.
Right, yeah,
Right. Okay.
yeah, it's all covered by the LBRN.
Does this include the core liaisons? Like Dr. Batra, myself, and
Oh,
then
like,
we were,
can you apply for a faculty award or something, or is that what you're asking?
well, yeah, I could, yeah, but
Or to the LBRN?
yeah,
Historically, we've been covered to come anyway as LBRN.
Yeah, Eduardo, are you asking about attending the annual meeting or?
Yeah.
the annual meeting
Summer
in New
program?
Orleans, I would like to go.
Yeah, if you're a liaison, we invite you to come, so I don't
Expect
think
you to
that's
come.
been an issue. Maybe you weren't clear on that before.
Yeah, we really want anybody that's participating in LBRN funded research or our program in general to attend the annual meeting, show support for the LBRN, and participate in the annual conference, because this is a statewide thing. We involve multiple campuses, multiple core liaisons and steering committee members from each campus, and we highly encourage statewide participation.
And
from
this
all of our
is
campuses.
this is the one event every year that our external advisory committee comes to, and they help to evaluate our, not just the conference, but the whole program. So we, of course, want to have as much representation there as possible.
I also have projects funded by the Corebacks. So I have project research to present results.
Yeah.
Yeah, $4. We want people who are funded with $4 requests to definitely present their findings at the conference. That's something our external advisory committee has a lot of questions about. What is the impact of our $4 program? And we know it does a lot of good for our LBRN institutions, and we just need participation at the annual meeting, saying that this research was a direct result of the Core program, and it's benefited my research by this, that, and the other. So many students were impacted by this research and everything. So
yeah, but also we are also looking at providing computational resources, actually computational hour to the LBRN research without the applying the allocation. So we have a dedicated computational hour for the LBRN community, so I can support that through the and the other one is regarding the watching the annual meeting. There's if distance is quite for example southern, we are not supporting the hotel for the southern because it's within a kind of the 40-minute distance, right?
But if they go to New Orleans, we will.
Yeah, that's a different thing. So
And
it depends on
it all depends where we hold the meeting.
I just need a hotel. I can drive.
yeah.
Okay, I'm going to move along and then, just for the students, as participants in the program, we've had students present at scientific meetings and be co-authors on publications and journals as a result of their research. We have actually, if a student lets us know that they're presenting at a scientific meeting, and this is actually for my own staff, we've actually supported in some way, either part of their travel or part of their registration or something to help them with going to that meeting in the past.
And I think we can also help with publication fees as well.
Yeah, especially making publications meet NIH compliance of open access, because this is a requirement, part of our reporting. And we realize there are limited funds with projects and pilot projects and even full projects through the LBRN and the summer research in particular. But any publication that cites LBRN funding has to be NIH compliant, and that means open access.
Danielle, you caught that question on chat?
Oh, yeah. The question is, can I do lab work in Shreveport? I can commute as long as I find a lab mentor stationed there. And the short answer is yes. And while we are prioritizing students traveling, we do understand that not everybody can, or that some people's interests lie in working with the health institutes, LSU Health Shreveport or LSU Health New Orleans. But you will need to have a mentor at that institution. Is there any more?
So like at LSU Shreveport, or if you're coming from LSUS, your mentor has to be at LSU Health Shreveport. So one of the blue institutions in Shreveport. And the idea there is that, you can stay in Shreveport and do research at LSU Health Sciences Shreveport. However, our budget does not cover housing for you, because we're only covering housing for students that are coming to LSU Baton Rouge and staying here for the summer research program.
They need to conduct all of their research at the health institute, or
Yes.
can they do it at their home university?
No, it's supposed to be at the health, at the lab.
Yeah, I mean, but
Okay.
if you're, the idea is you're going to like a research one institution that has well-established resources and investigators where you can go learn a new technique, learn a skill, and you can bring it back to your home institution. I mean, I don't see any reason why that would be a problem, but the idea is that you're learning a technique. So you're going, like, say you're doing some proteomics analysis or something, or I'm not sure exactly what your project would be. You would do this at your mentoring institution, and you could be doing stuff at your own lab, but as long as you're learning the technique at the mentoring institution and you're completing experiments there, I mean, it's not like you're stuck there or anything. It's not like you can only report there, but the goal is for you to learn something new and have a research experience that you maybe couldn't get at your home institution.
I'm going to go back. There was a slide. So this is answering a question that Austin Bristow had. Will we be assigned a mentor? Will we have to find a mentor? So there's a story behind this. So when we started the grant, we assigned the mentors. That was a disaster. You do so much better for you to find your mentor, something that you're interested in, or and a mentor that's willing to take you. So the mentors generally know about our program. They know about the summer REUs. They know that you get funded. So to them, you're you're a free student. They also get some supply money out of this to help with the research. And a lot of these labs, they have all these experiments they want to do. They just need someone to help them do it. In a lot of cases, you become the expert at that one area that the mentor wanted to do some experiment on. And it becomes a collaboration almost as an undergraduate. Sometimes it's a bigger lab and you're just working with the graduate students. If it's a smaller lab, you're working directly with the faculty member or a little bit of both. There's all kinds of labs. We've put a lab list here at LSU for you to look at, but as I go forward here in the slides.
There's a list within the application of mentors who have agreed to be mentors for the summer.
Yeah, that doesn't mean that they have, room for everyone,
Right, and it's not comprehensive. I think the admin core at LSU is all housed in the School of Veterinary Medicine. I don't think any of those people are on that list. So that's why we added some of these departments to encourage you to look for mentors within these departments.
Now, for undergraduates, for your application, you do not have to have the mentor figured out by the deadline. That's it'd be nice for you to start, but by the time you get accepted, that's when we're going to, if you haven't figured it out yet, then we'll help you. But we want you to start the process. It's competitive, people getting into these labs. So we encourage you to get started contacting and say, hey, I'm applying for this program. They understand you're applying for the program. You may not get accepted until a certain date, but they may say, okay, they may ask you for more information about yourself than you give us. They may want to get a copy of your transcript in addition to what we ask for and so forth. So they may be picky, and that's okay. I'm sorry, Danielle, you were going to say something.
Oh, I was just going to say that if you are having trouble finding a mentor that you want to work with, you're not sure who would be a good fit for you, you can email Dr. Stanfield. He's our grant coordinator and our scientific liaison.
He knows the faculty.
Yeah, so he can maybe have some of those conversations a little more candidly and get a feel for what people are looking for.
Yeah, if you have a certain field in mind, he might know which faculty might be a good fit for you or to talk to. Does that, Austin, I hope that covered your question. I'm pretty sure that's the biggest question for a lot of the undergraduates and maybe even the graduate students as well.
No, related to this conversation. So what my student, I want to prepare her for working in the COVID grant that we have on campus. So she's going to be working on cancer. But she needs flow cytometry, fax analysis, and we don't have that here. So I found the lab at LSU with a collaborator. But sometimes researchers don't want other people to come and bring cells from other labs into their cell culture. So she's going to learn the techniques using the cells in there. And then later here, it's just going to do the treatments and then bring the cells just for the cytometry analysis in the fax. So that's an example of, because we are very close, how two labs can work together.
Yeah, that's a great example of basically you getting a student to learn the technique and bring it back.
Yeah, that's exactly what the summer research program is for, is training students in new techniques and having research experiences at the campus and bringing that back to their home campus. So I think that's totally appropriate.
I think we have this slightly out of order, Danielle, but how to apply. Obviously, y'all already found out about this, but the LBRN website, we have links in quite a few places to get to the summer program section. The exact application, this is the requirements for undergraduates. Statement of interest. So I've been on the committees for the undergraduates quite a few times to read these letters. just answer the questions we got here for you. Stay focused on that. So why should we choose you for the program? What is it that you can contribute, do you think, to a group, a laboratory group? And what do you plan to do afterwards? We are very interested in your future. That's what this grant is all about, is creating more researchers. Your letters of recommendation, I'll tell you, hopefully you've gotten to know your faculty. I know that's really tough for the freshmen. The sophomores and juniors, and particularly the seniors, you should get to know your faculty. But help them out. If you ask them to write a letter, bring them a resume or a CV of sorts of what you've done in the past, so that they have something to write on. Because the worst letters I've read are, so-and-so was in my class, they got an A, and that's just about it. I can look at your transcript. I know you got an A in that class. I want to know something about you, or why you're in this program. And let me tell you, the faculty on your campuses want you to get this opportunity. So they will help you out if you give them some information to put in that letter. Obviously, we need a transcript. We need proof that you're in school and of your GPA. And then, of course, you've got to work on finding a mentor. Graduate students are somewhat similar. There's a statement of interest and there's some letters. The letters are a little bit more specific in terms of being from a graduate committee member and from the person that you're going to work with, collaborator, and the purpose of your research. Again, we need proof that you're in school and your grades. Faculty, you have a very NIH-like proposal to put together, and actually the graduate students have a little bit of this as well. So if you have questions about your proposal, you can email it to us, to Brent or our LBRN email, and we'll help you out. There needs to be a collaboration agreement with the prospective mentor that you're going to be getting something out of this with, and as well as they are. Have I covered everything, Brent?
I think you're good.
The application online, there's a two stage phase. The first form verifies your email address. It sends back an email. There are a couple of campuses that their spam filters are a little aggressive. I know in particular, Louisiana Tech has one server in particular that some of the emails don't go through, but if it hits another server, it does. So if you don't get that second email, follow up with an email to me and I'll help you out. The application is set up to save as you go. So you can start it. I encourage you, if you're interested in the program, to get your application started. And then you can come back and upload the documents as you get them. The letters of recommendations within the application itself, it'll give you a link to give to the person writing the letter. And they will upload the letter, and they need your email address because that's how you get contacted that the letter was sent. I can't tell you in the early days how many times we got phone calls and emails saying, did you get our letter? Did you get my letter? Did you get my letter? Did you get my letter? Is my application complete? It's like, yes. So we've put in an automated process. So as long as the faculty gets your email address right, you'll get notified that the letter was sent to us on time. Yeah. Let's see. We will post it in our, what was the question, Danielle? I missed it.
Oh, she wanted to know how are we going?
Yeah, I'll post the recording after I edit it. So good question.
And I also went ahead and posted the application link in the chat. So if you just want to open that now and, at least do that first step of getting your email verified, then you're in, you're started. You've done the first step. Easy.
Yeah. The reason why, if you have a problem getting to that second step, I want you to contact us is duplicate applications cause us a little bit of a headache. And I've got to clean them up. Yes, Tom, faculty use the same, it's the same link for everyone.
And just again, remember to save as you go.
So I have to have the acknowledgement to our grant on this presentation. But I'm going to skip out for a second. This is our main web page, and from the main web page, you can either go to research and funding opportunities. This is a funding opportunities, or right on the front page here, Louisiana Summer Research Program application. Click on that. It takes you to here. And so everything that we've put in the slides are already pretty much in here. The web page takes you step by step through each section of what you need to know. Learn how to get selected. Continue to. So for each type of applicant, we have a breakdown. And again, these are the requirements that we just talked about.
And then that application link is at the top, the big green
Right.
button.
We do have that potential mentor list here in the undergraduate list. It's also within the application. So, but if I go to that research application link, it starts out very simply, and you get to identify if you're an undergraduate, a graduate, or faculty. So I'm going to pretend to be an undergraduate, and at that point, I will fill in my email address. If you get it, so let's say I put something wrong, you'll get a little note there that says the emails don't match. Please make sure they match. I'll just put Q there. Then I submit. And you need to make sure that our email address is in your contacts list. Sometimes this goes to spam. I'm going to go out and go get my email. Yes.
John, we prefer the email, affiliation email, which is in a campus email, right?
Yeah, we would prefer that you use your campus email address. What Nayoung is getting at is lately we've been insisting that people do not use Gmail or Yahoo. But for this, I'm not as worried about, because we do get proof that you're at those campuses with your transcript. But we have a place for you to put an alternate email address for us to contact you with. So we would like you to use your campus email address if possible. And so you just go forward and fill this out. If at any point you've got questions, you can email us. We do need to know about your citizen status. If you're not a US citizen, we do take, as long as you're able to work, is that the, let me see, you have, if you are here on a visa, please ensure that you're eligible to work and can provide documentation from your ISO. That's a little detail for international students that are here in the state. Yeah, I kind of have to fill this out for me to get to the next step, don't I? I'm gonna just make stuff up here.
I'm going to let Brent answer the question in the chat while
Yes,
you're doing.
please, because I'm not watching.
I think the outline of the amounts that are for supplies are on the in the application details. There's like I think graduate students get like $9,000 or something for the summer. So
No, John,
no.
no.
2,000 for supplies.
2,000 for supplies. Okay.
Yeah, undergraduates typically, the lab can get up to 1,000 in supplies, and graduate students, it's up to 2,000. At least
Okay.
that's what I recall.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I'm pretty sure it is.
I can't
It's,
remember how much is budgeted for their stipend.
I'm going to
And
make a note here. I'm filling out GPA for the students who are a little concerned about the GPA. Go ahead and apply anyway if your GPA is on the low side. Even though it may not meet our requirements, we have taken students below the required GPA.
I think the main thing is to have a strong
Yeah.
interest in research, because that's what we're trying to promote is students with an interest in research an interest in pursuing research as a potential future direction in either your career or future, graduate school, future training. So that's kind of where the whole thing is for.
We
On,
want to help, the students and faculty. So, if it's how we can impact, our support impacts, the students' future, that is the most important, things for us actually.
one of the questions we ask undergraduates in particular is your research interests and have you done laboratory research before? Please be aware that having done or have not done laboratory research before will not impact your application. However, keep in mind that if you've been in a biology lab, you've done laboratory research. So you might think about what you've done in your labs as an example. Whether or not you require housing in Baton Rouge will not impact your status. Whether or not you have a car does not impact your status. So we use this information to help us figure out where we're placing you. We try to make sure at least one person in a group, when we put you in the housing, has a car. Those kind of basic things. So there's a reason why we ask the question. It's not what you think. Let's see. There's the.
And a couple questions. There was one from Mackenzie. For graduate students, is the program intended to contribute to thesis research or be a separate project? So like I said before, the intention of this program is for you to learn a new skill or have a research experience that would, directly impact the research you're doing at your home campus. So for graduate students, like Dr. Martinez was saying, his students doing a flow cytometry experiment, they're coming here to do flow cytometry, and then they'll be applying that to research that they're doing in his lab. So that's exactly what this program's intended to do. It can be related to your it can be your thesis project. I mean, it all depends on what your agreement is with your mentor and the skill you're learning. But yes, it can definitely be directly related to your thesis research if that's what it is. But ultimately the skill or the technique or the experience would be something that I would hope would impact your thesis also, since that's what you're working on back at your home institution. The other question we got from Dr. Martinez is, if the summer project involves RNA sequencing, can this be supported by Corebox? That is a good question. And I suppose the answer is yes, but the Corebox would be a separate application. And it could be something that's done even before, since the RNA sequencing is not really that heavily, doesn't involve the students' work as much. It's more like things that our core facility does in generating those RNA sequence, the next generation sequencing data. Maybe the project could be a Corebox proposal, and then the data generated from that, RNA sequencing experiment be analyzed as part of the summer research program, maybe in collaboration with, Emmanuel Reese, who's our bioinformaticist here at the vet school. So, there's lots of things you could do like that. But I guess the answer is yes, but that would be a more contingent thing, because not all Corebox requests are approved automatically and things like that. So be more for like a skill, like, oh, I wanted to learn how to analyze this RNA-seq analysis. Yeah.
I'm going to answer Kaylee's question. We're getting close to out of time.
Okay.
Want to keep this session to an hour. Kaylee, undergrads get paid bi-weekly, every 2 weeks. And Tom, that is a question for Brent.
Okay, so
Undergrads, can undergrads be funded hourly on the faculty award? I have no
yeah,
idea.
so if your faculty award supports undergraduate students, that's fantastic. I mean, the salary, I guess or the wage that you pay your undergraduate students is something that you would include in your budget. So, an hourly wage and then a prospected, number of hours a week and the percentage of the budget that's going towards paying that salary would need to be included in your budget and budget justification. But yeah, I mean, it's totally reasonable. And I encourage faculty awards to support undergraduate research. We want to see as many, undergrads participating in LBRN funded research as possible. That's the main focus of LBRN, is to get some of these undergraduates from primarily undergraduate institutions in research settings. So
And,
Can I follow up?
Oh, okay.
So then if I have a couple of undergrads in mind, should I try to include a sort of pared down version of the undergrad application in my application? I mean, a statement from them, transcripts, or any of that
No.
other business, or is that the wrong
Necessarily, because
approach?
this is more like it'd just be like a standard grant application for, your faculty award, because
Okay.
the faculty awards are sub-awards. Undergraduate and graduate students become LSU employees temporarily over the summer. So that's the distinction. So we would be issuing an award to your institution as a sub-award for the faculty award. So just put it in there as a line item for, salary for an undergraduate student. And in your budget justification, just outline their wage and how many hours you're projecting they'll work in the lab, and the amount of the budget that is directed towards their research
Okay.
on the project.
We've got a question from Austin. This is a good question. Does the program provide transportation while during the program? So there's a reason why we put you on campus, is so that you're right there with the labs. No, we don't generally provide transportation. That's why we try to make sure one person in the housing has a vehicle
And the,
in case you want to go somewhere. But to get to LSU or wherever you're going, or to wherever the housing is, we may support that. Danielle, you were going to say?
I was gonna say that for the housing, everyone has a private room, but you will be grouped in 3 or 4 people per apartment. So you will share common spaces, and that's what John was saying, why we ask you in the application, if you have a vehicle, somebody in your unit will have personal transportation. And then I don't know if John can speak to this. There is a bus system on campus. I don't know if that's.
I haven't used it, so I can't speak to it, but there is transportation on campus. If you're
Yeah.
having to get from the apartment to the vet school or something,
Yeah,
there
there's
is.
a map that makes it really easy to track the location of the different buses on their routes. So there is university provided transportation that goes to all the on-campus housing that could take you anywhere you want to go, take you downtown even. So you can definitely get around town with the university provided free transportation.
And there are also grocery stores right on campus. There's one in between the vet school where we are and the apartments that cover the housing. So there should be everything that you need right here. And we promise to not make you walk across South Louisiana in the summer months.
So there's another question, Danielle. This is
Kaya
for you.
asked if you can request a certain roommate, and once we go through all of the applications and we make selections, we will send out a listing or a request.
Although I will remind the students that the part of the purpose of the program is for you to meet new people. So we actually, Danielle, we used to mix this up with the other REUs. So you never knew who the
That
other
is
suite
still
mates were.
still is an option.
Yeah, so anyhow, but yeah, you can. I'm going to finish up the application part here. I just wanted to focus on the mentor here. You don't have to have the mentor picked. We are make a note on that when you by the deadline. And the letters of recommendation, you'll notice that we ask you to send a specific link to the faculty member for them to upload their letter. So it's provided here in the form. And on the very last page is where we have you upload. We would like everything to be PDFs if possible. That simplifies things for us. I'm always having to convert them if you don't, so that takes me more time. But please upload your statements and your unofficial transcript as PDFs, and then you can have your university email us your official transcript or mail it as needed, and the address is there for Danielle if it's a physically mailed copy. So that actually, if I hit submit right now, it would submit my application. But you can always come back and if you hit the save and return later, you'll get a link. You can have it send you the survey link for returning to the page. So you can come back and keep working on it until the deadline. If you decide halfway through that you need to update your letter because you had someone proof it and they found some things, you can just replace whatever you've uploaded. We only get to see the latest copies.
And we got another question. The recommendations, the letters of recommendation are going to be due on that extended due date of March
Yes.
29th.
Yeah.
And I guess we have, another minute or a couple if there are any other questions. And I think John mentioned this earlier about faculty at your campuses, how they want you to get this. And that's the same for all of us. We want to see everybody here succeed. Please reach out to us with any questions that you think of. We're here to help. This funding is through us, but it's for you. And we're just here to support you guys.
Funding through the NIH and the Louisiana Board of Regents. So these are federal and state appropriated funds to involve students in research and extend and develop the research infrastructure in Louisiana. So it's really great thing to be a part of.
I think for the hours each week, I would probably expect like a normal job, 40 hours a week. But as John mentioned earlier, science
Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less, but you get paid
can be inconsequential
regardless.
depending on what kind of experiments you're doing. Right, the hours could be flexible or the times could be flexible. It's really going to depend on the lab that you're in. And we're going to also be checking in with you guys I think you said, John, at the end of each week. So if you feel that
we send out some questions to make sure you're doing.
if you feel that anyone is abusing your time, you're working too many hours, that's not okay. So just your hours should reflect like a pretty regular work week.
Yeah, yes, that we've actually had students. So can you work with someone doing the same research? It depends. So it depends on the lab and what they're going to. Sometimes they have maybe two students working together on a project. So that's happened before. But it'll depend, but it's possible. I will end with this as something from experience. Is it's more important for you to get the experience in some cases than what you're doing in terms of picking. If you know you want to do it but you don't know what to pick something. You get more out of it from the experience of being in a RAU, doing a summer program, learning how a lab works, learning to work with people, making contacts, and learning what you like and don't like for your career, what you really want to do. And that is as valuable as or even more so than the actual what you picked to do as research. Sometimes the actual research you may think, oh, that doesn't look very interesting. And it may be, you know, some single cell thing. It may be the most interesting thing out there and you just didn't know it. I'm gonna just toss that out there.
Any,
Yes. Has any lab research landed? Yes. We've had undergrad students be part of publications. Okay. I apologize if I'm not pronouncing your name right. Miss Perry.
Well, I just wanted to thank all of you for all your work in the LBRN program. It's helping to start research for students, faculty. I was one of those. I was new at Southern and didn't have any grants. So my first grant was with LBRN and that helped me a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, and I do want to keep everyone in mind, this is the first summer we're coming out of COVID, going back to the way we kind of did things. So be patient with us. We're going to try to pick up things as best we can as we used to, but some of us are just getting started. So thank you. Any
Nice.
more questions? Oh, Brent.
Well, we're over time now, so we should just go ahead and end it.
yeah, and then any other questions, our email address is lbrn@lsu.edu. Please use it freely.
We have multiple people who check that. So, all right, everyone.
All right, bye,
See you
thank
later.
you.
Thank you.